The following is an updated version of a classic Hoax Hunter episode from 2015. Near the end of this video, you will find a 2017 Foo Fighters update. Thank you for watching. Hoax Hunter Razimus here. In this episode, the topic is Foo Fighters. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking about a band. It's not that band. You're probably thinking about a particular band. I assure you, it is not that band. Obviously, it's about the Foo Fighters of World War II. I thoroughly researched it to the best of my ability. I've always found it interesting because it's a particular type of UFO sighting that isn't seen today very often at all. For some reason, UFO sightings, they happen in waves of certain shapes and certain sizes and certain colors. And in the 40s, during World War II, the American dogfighter pilots happened to see a lot of spheres. Most of them described the spheres as transparent when they saw them up close. Far away, they look kind of like stars or different colored lights, but up close they could see that they were ranged from the size of a baseball to the size of a basketball, and that they were clear or metallic, silver, or sometimes gold. So what were Foo Fighters? What were they? December 13th, 1944. Floating silver balls, latest Nazi weapons. As the Allied armies ground out new gains on the Western Front today, the Germans were disclosed to have thrown a new device into the war. Mysterious silvery balls which float in the air. Pilots report seeing these objects both individually and in clusters. The purpose of the floaters was not immediately evident. It is possible that they represent a new anti-aircraft defense instrument or weapon. December 14th, 1944. Secret weapon resembles Yule decoration. The Germans on the Western Front have produced a secret weapon. It was disclosed officially Wednesday. The new device, apparently an air defense weapon, resembles the huge glass balls which adorn Christmas trees. They hang in the air, sometimes singly, sometimes in clusters. They are colored silver and other shades and are apparently transparent. No information was available as to what holds them up like stars in the sky, what is in them, or to their purpose. Lately they have been seen several times floating over German territory. December 15th to the 28th, 1944, War Diary of the 415th Night Fighter Squadron. December 15th, saw a brilliant red light at 2,000 feet going east at 200 miles per hour. December 18th, sighted 5 or 6 red and green lights in a T shape which followed AC through turns and closed to 1,000 feet. Lights followed for several miles, then went out. Our pilots have named these mysterious objects which they encounter over Germany at night Foo Fighters. December 23rd. More Foo Fighters were in the air last night. Sighted 2 orange lights. One light sighted at 10,000, the other climbed until it disappeared. December 24th. The Foo Fighters were active again, according to the pilot's report. Observed a glowing red object shooting straight up. January 2nd, 1945. Eerie German Foo Fighter stalks Yanks over Nazi land. The Nazis have thrown something new into the night skies over Germany. The weird, mysterious Foo Fighters, balls of fire which race alongside the wings of American bow fighters. U.S. pilots have been encountering the eerie Foo Fighter for more than a month in their night fights. No one apparently knows exactly what this sky weapon is. The balls of fire appear suddenly and accompany the planes for miles. They appear to be radio-controlled from the ground and manage to keep up with the planes flying 300 miles an hour. There are 3 kinds of these lights we call Foo Fighters, said Lieutenant Donald Myers. One is a red balls of fire which appears on our wingtips and fly along with us. The second is a vertical row of 3 balls of fire which fly in front of us. And the third is a group of about 15 lights which appear off in the distance, like a Christmas tree up in the air, and flicker on and off. The pilots find these fiery balls the weirdest thing they have encountered. They are convinced that the Foo Fighter is designed to be a psychological weapon as well as military, although it is not the nature of the fireballs to attack planes. A Foo Fighter at 700 feet chased me 20 miles. I turned to starboard, and 2 balls of fire turned with me. I turned to the port side, and they turned with me. We were going 260 miles an hour, and the balls were keeping right up with us. On another occasion, when a Foo Fighter picked us up, I dove at 360 miles per hour. It kept right off our wingtips for a while, and then zoomed up into the sky. When I first saw the things off my wingtips, I had the horrible thought that a German on the ground was ready to press a button and explode them, but they don't explode or attack us. They just seem to follow us like will-o'-the-wisps. February 8, 1944. Ball-like object. Appeared silvery. Hung in air at 30,000 feet. No chute was observed to be attached to the object, and it remained under observation for approximately 15 minutes by the crew while in the targeted area. The crew did not see the object fired from the ground. December 1945. One day at Chow, a 415th pilot suggested that they give the lights a name. A reader of the comic strip, Smokey Stover, suggested that they be called Foo Fighters, since it was frequently and irrefutably stated in the strip that where there's foo, there's fire. The name stuck. A P-47 pilot saw a gold-colored ball with a metallic finish moving slowly. Another P-47 pilot reported a phosphorescent golden sphere 3 to 5 feet in diameter flying at 2,000 feet. Meanwhile, official reports of the Foo Fighters had gone to group headquarters and were noted. Now in the Army, when you note anything, it means that you neither agree nor disagree, nor do you intend to do anything about it. It was said that the Foo Fighters might be a new kind of flare. A flare, said the 415th, does not dive, peel off, or turn. July 8, 1947. Saucers may be Foo Fighters, flyer suggests. A Foo Fighter, reported by bomber pilots on combat missions, is described as a ball of fire, perhaps 2 or 3 feet in diameter, which was seen at the wingtips of planes and which followed the planes. Captain Ballard said they might be compared with St. Elmo's fire, a type of electrical brush discharge sometimes seen during storms on ships. St. Elmo's fire glows reddish when the discharge is positive and bluish when negative. They're obviously going to be a mystery for a long time, unless some new government documents are revealed which tell us that they were secret German technology. Now, secret German technology is an angle which has some possibility. I do believe some of the Foo Fighters could be explained by natural things, such as artillery going off near the airplanes, such as maybe a rare flare here or there. But the description of the paranormal sounding Foo Fighters go well beyond flares and artillery. Let me just read this real quick. December 15th, 1944. Silver balls in Reich may block radio signals. It could be that those floating silver balls encountered by American airmen in raids over the Reich are another German attempt to create interference for radio communication and detection signals. Dispatches from the front have been heavily censored, but the fact that the balls are described as silver in color would indicate that they are of a metallic nature, and thus would react on any type of electronic emission. That is, they would mess up the signals. In previous attempts at creating interference, particularly anti-radar, the Germans were reported to have used lightweight, tinfoil-like strips of material that they loosed in the air. Apparently, these were not too satisfactory, as gravity soon drew them to Earth. The silver balls, particularly if made of some light material, would have greater buoyancy and thus stay aloft longer and maintain a more extended interference period. So that's an angle that I've never heard before. I've never heard any other report other than this article of the Germans using tinfoil, shooting up tinfoil to disrupt the signals being used by the Allies. Interesting. It sounds like an alternative way to mess up communications, but this is the only report I've ever heard about this secret tinfoil weapon that the Germans use. If the Germans used a secret tinfoil weapon, which apparently didn't work too well, then it is possible that they would try to improve on that simple tinfoil technology, which is what some have speculated on. Now, if it wasn't a Air Force captain, I wouldn't have taken this speculation too seriously. But Air Force Captain Charles Odom speculates further and perhaps even reveals some top secret information in the following articles. July 8, 1947. Another development in Houston was a suggestion by Charles Odom, 23, Air Force captain in the last war, that the flying discs might be crystal balls similar to those he said were used by the Nazis. He said those balls were electronically operated, and while in mid-air would send back to a radar screen on the ground the altitude, speed, and other data of bombers it approached. He said the balls would fly up to the altitude of bombers, were apparently magnetized, and then flew along with the plane formations. This sounds like a very sophisticated, very advanced device. If the Nazis created it, if anyone created it. I can't think of any technology that we have even today that could compare to a crystal ball that can fly around and follow an airplane. Some of the reports indicate that these balls, Foo Fighters, would follow the airplanes for an hour. Not merely come up and go down, but for an hour, and some describe them as intelligently controlled. Not mindlessly floating around, but intelligently controlled. I go through many of these, and you can search them yourself, and I could post a link to where I found a lot of this information. There's a very good website, and I will post a link to that website of the archives of a lot of the different reports of Foo Fighters. But here is the second article on Charles Odom. During 1944-45, Allied airmen over Germany encountered what B-17 pilot Charles Odom described as crystal balls, clear about the size of basketballs. They would approach to within 300 feet of the bomber formation. They would seem to become magnetized to our formation and fly alongside. After a while, they would peel off like a plane and leave. Mostly they were seen at night, but some airmen reported spotting them during daylight hours. And so there's another report of Charles Odom's report of these crystal balls. He doesn't mention it, or he's not mentioned in this article claiming it's German technology, but that other report claiming it's German technology, that report of Charles Odom, Air Force captain, claiming that the crystal balls were, as I quote, similar to those he said were used by the Nazis, that might be top secret information he accidentally leaked, because there are no official reports of the Nazis using Foo Fighter crystal balls. It's possible the Nazis did create this technology, but even to this day, it's classified top secret, or above top secret. Perhaps it's something that we are using or perfecting, or maybe it's just stored away as a secret weapon that we might use in the future. As far as the effectiveness of these Foo Fighters, they did not help the Nazis win the war. The Nazis obviously lost. And apparently every mission that the Allied forces were sent on to fight, when they saw these disorienting Foo Fighters, that they were psychologically affected by it, but that it did not stop them from completing their missions, making these Foo Fighters, if they were a secret Nazi weapon, totally ineffective, other than as an anecdote to tell your grandchildren, because the Allies won the war, the Nazis lost. Perhaps that's why, even if we did gain the technology, we do not use them. But I would say maybe Black Ops, maybe Area 51 knows about it. Maybe it's stored in a file cabinet, the secret plans. Maybe we did find, after winning the war, maybe we did find the secret technology. We definitely recruited, the United States recruited a good number of German Nazi scientists because we wanted their technology. We used their technology in our rockets. At NASA, we used German engineered rockets. And so it's not a stretch to say we also took whatever we could from Germany. But as far as if these are a device, they're still a mystery to this day. And like I said, we didn't find any evidence, or if we did, it's still classified top secret. But I can give you the official response of the British National Archives. The British National Archives recently released this report. More sightings of aerial phenomena were made during the Second World War by Royal Air Force aircrew. These included balls of fire and mysterious moving lights that appeared to pursue Allied aircraft operating over occupied Europe. American pilots dubbed these UFOs Foo Fighters, from a character in a comic strip whose catchphrase was, "Where there's foo, there's fire." Although the Foo Fighters did not appear to be hostile, the sightings alarmed air intelligence branches of the Air Ministry and U.S. Army Air Force as they prepared for the invasion of France. They assumed the phenomena were German secret weapons. At the end of the war, no traces of advanced aircraft or weapons that could explain the Foo Fighters were found by the Allied occupying forces. That's the official response from the British National Archives, from the British government. That at the end of the war, no traces of advanced aircraft or weapons that could explain the Foo Fighters were found by the Allied occupying forces. So officially, they didn't find anything, but unofficially, still classified, still top secret, there might be some type of technology out there. And it might look like this. I'm going to draw this picture. Here you go. It's a basketball-sized clear crystal ball with a light inside of it that somehow is intelligently controlled. We may never know what the Foo Fighters were, but I'm going to leave you with this song, which was inspired by the Smokey Stover comic book, and it's entitled, "What This Country Needs Is Foo." The actual clip of the song from 1938 has been deleted from this video, but I replaced it with a cover song that I performed myself of "What This Country Needs Is Foo." Enjoy. What this country needs is foo. Everywhere you go, you hear what's wrong with things today. Smokey Stover makes it clear, and I'm prepared to say, what this country needs is foo. We can stand a lot more foo. Listen, friends, I'm telling you, what this country needs is foo. Let's face the future with the foo. That's what all young men should do. Nothing ventured, nothing foo. I love my wife, but oh, you foo. It's wonderful what foo can do. Foo can do-da-loo-da-doo. Yes, my friends, I'm telling you, what this country needs is foo. Foo and foo and foo and foo. Let's give 3 cheers for foo. As far as Foo Fighters, my conclusion is they might have been a German piece of technology that was taken away and destroyed, or taken away and kept by the black ops of the U.S. military. Of course, there are some that are going to say that they are time travelers or aliens or interdimensional travelers or spirit beings or whatnot. And, you know, it is possible that there's even something more paranormal to explain them. 2017 update. It is now my opinion, and this is strictly an opinion, feel free to disagree, but I personally believe paranormal, unidentified flying objects are most definitely, very possibly, demonic entities, spirit beings. Those that don't believe in spirits can call them interdimensional travelers. And a lot of people say they come from another dimension. They do. They come from a dimension slightly above us. Someone made a comment at one point in time where they said, where do UFOs go when they're not in the sky? They have to go somewhere. There has to be a place they land, if they are craft. And if they're not craft, they still have to go somewhere. UFOs are very connected to the occult in the fact that they go somewhere hidden. They go to a secret, invisible place. That invisible world in my opinion, is the fifth dimension, or a slightly higher dimension just barely above us, where they can sneak on through, where they can actually view us 24 hours a day invisibly, and they can show themselves as balls of light, for example, and they can even shapeshift. Actual entities shapeshifting into what appears to be a craft. I'm going to do more episodes in the future on UFOs are demons, but there are most definitely UFOs that are mechanical and technology. Perhaps the Germans did have Foo Fighter technology, so that is a possibility, but I lean closer to spirit entities, demonic entities, because a ball of light just looks a lot like a spirit in many different ways. It seems like a natural form they take. Even in Mexico, the Mexican Air Force released a video similar to Foo Fighters, where there were a bunch of balls of light, and they almost flew straight through them, or they disappeared. They disappeared because they're actually in another dimension. They're just showing themselves slightly. This is my update opinion, and I'm going to be doing more episodes on UFOs and the occult. Not the government craft kind, but the actual paranormal kind that can disappear and go into another dimension at any time. And then they come back, and when they appear, some people claim to be UFO summoners. You can't summon a craft of an extraterrestrial. It doesn't work that way. But you can summon demonic entities. So I'm going to cover that in the future. I thank you for watching. This has been John Razimus with Hoax Hunter. Be seeing you.